I'm on top of the world because of you. All I wanted to do is follow you. I'll keep singing along to all of you. I'll keep singing along. I'm on top of the world because of you. All I wanted to do is follow you. I'll keep singing along to all of you. I'll keep singing along. I'm thinking me good, you. 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 You can call me good, blue, hair blue, tie hiding in your golden secrets. Anyone can find me here. No music running through my mind. I'm thinking me good, you. 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 I'm on top of the world because of you. All I wanted to do is follow you. I'll keep singing along to all of you. I'll keep singing along. I'm thinking me good, you. I'm thinking me good, you. I'm thinking me good, you. I'm thinking me good. What's it like to be you? 2020, looking in the rear view deep down, don't sleep. Everyone I speak through knows they won't keep living in a preview. I'm thinking me good, you. 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 I'm on top of the world because of you. All I wanted to do is follow you. I'll keep singing along to all of you. I'll keep singing along. I'm on top of the world because of you. All I wanted to do is follow you. I'll keep singing along to all of you. I'll keep singing along. I'm thinking me good, you. I'm thinking me good, you. I'm thinking me good, you. I'm thinking me good, you.
sun, wanna feel the sun in my eyes. Wanna catch the dawn, 'cause the count's starting now. 'Cause it makes me feel alive. Wanna feel the sun, wanna feel the sun in
Well, it's been a bloody while, hasn't it? So, I'm just... Oof, bad hips there. I'm just gonna decline that. That's obviously a scam call there. And yes, my call notification is Metal Gear codec call. It's one of my favourite games, what do you expect? One of my favourite game series, I'll clarify. And wipe to live. Make sure that looks all good for your end. Yeah, that seems good. Just gonna check the volume. Just bring the mic closer to my face instead. Yeah, that seems good. So, yeah, My Little Pony card game, or the collectible card game, that is. And yes, these were genuinely on sale in certain places. They had national, regional, and World Cup tournaments, by the way, for this. But it's one of these card games that I never saw got genuinely popular outside of its intended fan base. Because, perfectly honest, it's a really nice, fun card game. And, like, the fact that it was made solely for... At least the mechanics for this was solely made for it. But we're gonna quickly grab one of these, one of each that we can, and we'll do a quick rundown explanation. Starting with main cards, double-sided. Now, these cards are your building block. This is your initial building block for your deck, because it dictates primarily what colour you're going to run out of the 6 colours that is shown on the back of the cards. So you've got your 6 colours, which is cyan, orange, yellow, violet, pink and white. And Rainbow Dash, being what she is a blue card. Every card is also themed a little bit after the 6 colours, because as you'll see in the top right corner of the card there, it's Rainbow Dash's Cutie Mark Lightning Bolt with 1 right next to it. That signifies 1 power. Now you'll notice that on the side down the side of the card there, underneath the horseshoe symbol, you'll see the word start. That is because this is the main character card. and that has everything to do with the text box down below it. Now, ignore the very bold text, I'll get to that in just a little second, but if you read the text, it says, when you confront this card's problem, if you have a troublemaker at that problem, turn this card over. Now, that gets into another whole load of things, but I will get to that. But first, this game has 3 main play zones, and I will just do a little box, and I'll come over here to a blank area, and for the use of empty space, we'll say this is play zone 1. This is the closest to you as a person, besides your deck zone and your discard zone. Now, your home zone is where your main character card is going to start, and that's where the game begins. You draw your hand, so on and so forth. But the 2 other zones are up here and up here on the field. Now, this zone right here is your problem card zone, which is what these cards are. And I'll grab this one over. Now, problem cards is how in this game you achieve score points, primarily. It's how you primarily achieve score points in order to get to a score of 15 and win the game. As you draw for your deck, you'll have friend cards. Friend cards are the cards you pull from your deck, and as you see here, it's got name, it's got a power value in the top right, and underneath the double horseshoe symbol, which is called the friend symbol, you'll see a white circle with the number 3 in it, and right above that it says cost. This game is entirely based around tokens. And how do you get tokens? You get them just by starting your turn. At the start of your turn, at the very first go, because both players are at 0 points, each player gets 2 tokens to start out with on their turn. So obviously you wouldn't be able to play this on your first go, but those points are accumulative. You keep them, you gain them over time. And also, when you start playing cards and getting points, the more points you get, the higher the counters you gain per turn. But here's the tricky thing, and the delightful thing. When it comes to tokens, both players receive the amount of tokens dictated by the highest scoring player. So neither player falls behind on generating tokens. So even if you get a really good streak going and you get a lot of points, even though you're giving a benefit of higher amounts of tokens to yourself, you're giving that same benefit to your opponent. And that is just delightful to me. I find that really amazing. And back to this card, the friend card. Below the cost, you'll see a little kind of power indicator there, but that's the same as the top right. Well, underneath the 2 power indicator underneath the cost is actually a restriction requirement. In order to play this card on the field, you have to already have a 2 pink power on the field. That can be separate or singular, whatever. There are also cards that help you do that without cards on the field, but we'll get to that in a bit. Now, underneath the main picture, you'll see Friend and Earth Pony. That can come into effect with different cards' effects, because some cards have additional effects that say, if you have an Earth Pony with this friend, gain +1 power. Things like that. And that goes for any of the 4 types, maybe 5 types. No, wait, actually could be 6 types. In fact, depending on the main cards of the later ones, yeah, Griffins, that can go all the way up to 6 or 7 types of character. But in the main text box there, you'll see keywords, which is random and main phase. Main phase always dictates that you can either tap the card by going bonk and gaining its effect, exhaust this card to draw a card. It does exactly that. The really good thing about most of these cards, though, is that keywords like random, which is mostly unique to the pink cards in the Premier set, which is the very first set they released, they normally have explanations on what they actually do. So I will quickly go over here. That's keyword studious, keyword caretaker. I will do a little search, make sure we get a keyword. There we go, there's a keyword there. Inspired. At the start of your main phase, look at the top card of the opponent's deck and put it on the top or bottom of their deck. That's it. If you have that card out on the field, you get to do that. And if we scroll down here, keyword caretaker. +1 power while at a problem with at least one of your critter friends. That's 8 types. Critter types is normally animals. Cute little animals. Blue jay, falcon, hummingway, the hummingbird, house mouse. And I believe something's going a little bit squewy there. No, it's just definitely done something weird. Yeah, because it's just not being able to load them in properly. Right, there we are. Keyword random. During a face-off involving this card, if you flip a card with 1 power, ignore it and draw a new card. I will get to that in a little bit, because I have to explain some other cards first. Now, back to this. When you confront this card's problem, if you have a troublemaker at that problem, turn this card over. The main character card. And this is all spelled in pony speak, so yes, it is M-A-N-E. Now, this gorgeous bitch is a troublemaker card, indicated by the red border, like red bordering, like you can see it in the top left, the text box. It is made to look as quote-unquote menacing as possible. But troublemakers are how you stop or how you try to stop opponents from gaining points. At least a little bit. But how do you gain points first? Well, on the top and bottom of this card, you'll see numbers at the top and numbers in colours at the bottom primarily. Now, the bottom numbers for what's facing you is the requirements you have to fulfill to gain a point. For this card, it is 4 purple power and 3 not purple power. This could be made up of any combination of any of the other colours. But primarily in a lot of these decks, they want you to stick to 2 colours. But in a fair amount of the later expansions, they really try and nudge you towards 3 a little bit. But for this instance, we're just paying attention to this. That's 4 purple power and 3 not purple power that you have to provide to keyword confront the problem and gain a point. The top number, which you see as 8 and is just a generic circle that's saying whatever, doesn't matter, because that is how your opponent can confront your problem and steal a point. But you can do the same to them. Now, there's also the text in the problem card, which does oftentimes have some good effects. This one, the first player to play a friend to this problem gains 2 tokens. And that's a pretty decent one. Now, some of you might be looking over to the right hand side of the card and it says bonus 3. Now, that is when it comes down to what is called face-offs, which, ding ding ding, is what this does. Or what it wants you to do. Well, no, actually it doesn't. It just says confront the problem. Regardless. Right. So, say that we're able to confront this problem. But there's nothing there at that problem. So, what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. This card doesn't get flipped over. But if you read the card carefully, it says if you have a troublemaker at that problem, and this game is very about technicalities in the wording. They errated some of that out later on. You as the player play troublemakers by paying 1 token and playing the card face down beside the problem you want to play it at. Now you confront the problem, and now you have a troublemaker at that problem. Now you can flip this card over and gain additional effects. You also see it gains a boost of 2 power to 3. Now, keywords, home limit 4. Home limit is how many friends at a time you can end on your turn with in this home zone. And keyword swift. You can move this card for 1 fewer action tokens. Now it only says 1 fewer because certain things and certain other cards may increase that cost. Now, how do you move characters, you say? Well, you pay 2 tokens, normally, to move it from any zone to any zone. This can be from problem to problem, home to problem, problem to home. And that's plenty fine. But this one, you can pay it for you pay one less fewer tokens. And that means you pay 1 token to move that card anywhere. And also, when you move this card from home to a problem, you may pay 1 to move another one of your friends from home to that problem. That means instead of paying 1 and then 2 to move friends, you just pay the initial 2 and go, they're buddying up, pay 2, 1 and 2. And that's the swift action keyword is pretty decent. Now, how do what I said earlier face-offs work? Well, problem face-offs initiate when both players are able to confront a problem in that same turn. I've got enough friends here to confront this, like, for the discussion, of course. And the opponent has enough friends and cards here to confront this from that side. At the end of the second player's turn who confronts it second, a face-off is initiated. A face-off determines who gets the bonus points of that card. Now, face-offs happen in the process of each player calculates the total of the power they have at that problem. And when they've done that, you put that aside, make sure you've got that on hand, because you will need to add on to it. How do you add on to it? Well, each player takes the top card of their deck and flips it onto the open. Now, just for reasonability's sake, say, drew this card, flipped it. This, in the top right corner you'll see, is +4 power to the face-off, because every single card that goes into your deck has a numerical value in the top corner. Now, we'll get to what this does later, but that is how the power is calculated for face-offs. But what happened to the cards after the face-off? Now, I might have to double check this. I'm probably going to double check this just regardless to make sure I'm keeping what I'm saying correct. But as far as I remember, because I have not played this in a long time, I just really liked it. But as far as I remember, when you are done with the face-off, the cards that you flipped get flipped back and go under the deck. And as far as I remember, that is how it works for face-offs. But you might be a little bit confused. What about troublemakers? Well, troublemakers work a lot of the same way as face-offs, because depending on who plays what where and things like that, is it really only is that, you'll see in the top right, it has a score, it has a power value. Now, troublemakers are irritatingly annoying, because when you play a troublemaker to your opponent and it goes face down on your turn, it doesn't activate until it comes back to you. No, it activates on the opponent's it activates immediately after your opponent's draw phase. And that is the quote-unquote troublemaker phase. Now, ones like this, which is one of the ultra rares of the Premier series, it's pretty ridiculous with keyword and effects. Because, my god, that was so broken. They had to write that out as quickly as possible. Now, this one has 7 power in the top right, but it has a point value. You gain points for fighting the troublemakers, because, you know, friendship and getting rid of issues. Now, that keyword at the top there, villain, that doesn't exist in later expansions to the game. I think they stopped that after the 3rd, which I'm going to check. Yeah, that's villain keyword there, but that's the 4th, which is utter discord. Yeah, utter discord. But I don't think they have it in this expansion, which is Equestrian Odysseys. Just gonna check. Yeah, no. They got rid of that keyword, I think, pretty quick. Because that villain keyword was nasty. Now, what does that villain keyword do? Well, that villain keyword means that regardless of who played it, that troublemaker goes directly on top of the problem, preventing both sides from confronting it. That means you can fight your own troublemaker for the points. If it didn't have that keyword, it'd just face your opponent and only they would have to deal with it. You could confront the problem, no bother. But because it's a villain, not only does it cover both problems, but all friends, and I say this specifically, friends, are quote-unquote frightened, which is turned face down, which costs 2 token to return face up. And my god, I have this card, and using it was almost like sickening in the middle of a game. Because as soon as that gets flipped, not only do their friends and mine at that problem get turned face down, unless you've prepared enough tokens to immediately flip things back over, then it's gonna be a while before you get that done. Because this card's second effect, if you'll read, when you uncover this card, all players, and that does come into explanation later, all players discard their hands and draw 3 cards. At the start of each player's troublemaker phase, that player discards a random card. So literally, that card's job is to keep you from gaining back your cards. But there are ways to get around that too. Now, troublemaker phases are really interesting, but also incredibly irritating. Because, as I said, the troublemaker phase comes immediately after your draw phase, not your main phase. It comes between those. And what that means is You draw your card to start your turn, you gain your tokens. Do you want to fight it? Oh, you don't want to fight it this turn because you don't have enough friends. You have to wait till next turn because you then go into your main phase where you spend your tokens, play friends to it to bolster the effect and amount of power that you have there, so that because you want to guarantee it gets taken out. Now, the lower level troublemakers, which are Parasprites, Flim and Flam Brothers, they're pretty wimpy in the initial set. They're only 4 power each, but they also have their own different effects. Manticore is 4 power. Timberwolves, which are at least story-wise less threatening than a goddamn Manticore, but that one is annoying both to you as the player. Oh, hi there. It's not so much not enough friends, but just anytime I actually get the opportunity to bring the cards that I have over to friends' places to teach them to play and stuff, it actually like gets so busy that everyone forgets. But it's perfectly fine and it's cool. But thanks for the caring message, Weary Warlord. But this one is annoying to its owner, this card, because 6 power, pretty hefty. It's immediately 1 power less than the villain card, and it's 3 points. It's the same score value, but when the player uncovers this card, they have to pay 2 or dismiss it. And that's an immediate effect. It's not a consecutive one, but it is an immediately, when this card gets turned over on your opponent's turn, if you don't have those 2 tokens to pay to keep it there, it goes away. It just goes away. But if you are able to keep it there, then it's a continual annoyance to your opponent, because your opponent has to pay an additional 2 tokens to play a friend to that card's problem. But that's the keyword in that entire sentence. It costs your opponent plus 2 tokens to play a friend to the problem, but 93 board games. My god. Just at home, I have maybe 4 or 5. A lot of it is card games, but the only two genuine board games I have are Marvel Legendary, and that's a deck building game, and the Devil May Cry board game from Steamforge Games. But that is both a ridiculous number and an incredibly amazing number. Good God, man. But I do feel for you in not having people to play them with. I do feel for you on that. But yeah. Yeah. Having fun regardless of what it is, it's just nice. It's just nice, that's all. But yeah, this card can be a continual annoyance to your opponent, but only if they try to play their cards to it. If they play their cards at the other problem where this card isn't and move, it can certainly try to cost them less. Tabletop is your favourite, and couch co-op is your favourite video game. Honestly, tabletop is simultaneously the most organised games you can have, but also the wildest you can have, because the people that you often play them with are your best people. The people that you know will kind of, like, at least kind of enjoy it, because they're around everyone else that they know, and they will just energy feed off of each other into a massive loop, and it will just get absolutely bonkers. Oh, absolutely. One of my favourite tabletop games that just gets that way right off the bat with people I know is Betrayal at House on the Hill. And good God, that can get bad sometimes. But back over here. But yeah, troublemaker face-offs work the exact same way as regular problem face-offs, but with a little difference. Oh, absolutely. The three of them are the triquetra of, not only am I trying to help, but I'm also trying to win, and I only care about winning. But yeah, troublemaker face-offs work the exact same way. You flip the both of you flip cards, because you can't fight against yourself with troublemakers, even with villains. So it's a way to kind of get cards off the top of your opponent's deck. But we'll come into these cards here just now, because this is a good way to introduce them, kind of thing. These are event cards. They have their own power stats for face-off purposes. They also have their own costs, even restriction requirements. But event cards are akin to spell cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! They are often one-time use. They just give you a little bit of a boost. This one has the keyword face-off. It has to be played at the start of a face-off, so that before cards are flipped, it's taken into account generally. This one says, face-off, each of your opponents at an opponent's problem gets +1 power to the end of the face-off. Now, this one wouldn't be exactly much help here, because this is at our problem. This is our problem here. But if we had cards over here, an opponent's problem, all of our cards at this area would gain +1 power. And if you have quite a few cards, that adds up to a lot. But there are other cards with keyword face-off reaction. Face-off reaction cards are normally after the first card has been flipped. And if I come over here to grab one, that's another face-off card. That's a reaction card for the effect that it's intended. Play when one of your friends has been dismissed. Instead, play that, put that friend card into your hand. Here we are, face-off reaction. Play after your opponent flips a card. Your opponent ignores that card and flips a new card. Now, that kind of card is really useful if, say, here we've got 5 power, at least, just for the math. That's got 7. Your opponent flips a 5. You play that card, they ignore that 5, and let's say they flip a 2. It's now 7 plus 2 instead of 7 plus 5. Which, now, that's 7 plus 2, which gets it to 9 power. We've got 5 here. We've got 4 to make up. Say that we, boom, flip that. There's a 5. That puts us at 10 power. And that then gets fucked off into the discard pile. And we score an additional 3 points. Now, the one thing that really just kind of disappoints me with this set that I've found is the lack of score tracking cards, because score tracking cards also have additional reminder information on things you can do with tokens. Not only can you use them to play cards, not only can you use them to unfrighten cards, not only can you use tokens to move cards, but you can pay 1 token to draw a card. And having that information at your side, at least physically, is really handy to remind people, hey, you can do this. Remember, you can do this. If you've got a surplus of tokens and your hand's looking kinda out there, you can buy a bunch of cards from your deck. You can just go, okay, I've got 3 cards in my hand, it's not looking good, I've got a surplus of, like, say, 12 tokens, which isn't impossible. Okay, I'll spend 4 tokens, get me down to 8 tokens, and I'll draw 4 cards. Like, and then you've got 8 tokens to do with as you please with those cards in your hand. Now, the hand limit in this game is 10 cards. So, obviously, you get over 10, you discard down to 10. So, that's pretty handy. Now, our final card type is these. Resources, which this is a resource asset, which resource assets are normally always played to home, as it says on the card, which goes down there. Now, because this is a resource asset, or more specifically because it's a resource, this does not count towards your home limit. Home limits are strictly rules for friend cards, and your main character, because it's not a friend card, doesn't count towards that. But resource assets normally have effects like this, which is face-off reaction. When you win a face-off, dismiss this card, put it into the discard pile, and gain 4 tokens. Now, this card has, in my own personal deck, won me a good few matches, because at the end of problem face-offs, and I will lead up to this by saying, in a full set deck, you have 10 problem cards. And let's just I'll grab these here. Grab all of them. Now, I'm going to do this quickly. And when you have a face-off at a problem and the face-off gets resolved, that top problem card goes to the bottom of the problem deck, and the top one is flipped over. And that is your new problem. But when that happens, all character cards at that problem, yours and your opponent's, get sent to home. Now, there is a very, very narrow window for certain effects to kick in that say, if cards are dismissed, then dismiss it to your hand instead. If this card is about to be dismissed as a resolution effect, you can pay 1 to move this card to a problem. Certain ones like this as well. Even some of the problem cards themselves have, if one of your friends, and because it's your and the card is facing you, if one of your friends would be dismissed, pay 1 to move a friend here. And depending, and I say this because it really does matter, depending on who initiated the face-off, being that it was their turn, when all the character and friend cards are moved to home, they, if they go above that home limit, have to resolve their home limit, which means that if they have 7 or 8 cards in their home, they then have to bump down to minimum 4 cards at home. So they have to literally take 4 of their 8 friend cards and shove them in the discard pile. And that can get pretty dicey for some people because these are friend cards. We get attached to them very easily. But that is for the person who initiated the face-off, as I said. The person who didn't initiate the face-off, they don't have to worry. It's not the end of their turn. Home limit. What was the word I used just there? Home limit enforcement I'll use, because I can't remember that other word that I used earlier. Home limit enforcement only takes place on the end of that person's turn. If you didn't initiate the face-off but your opponent did, they're the one that has to enforce their home limit. You don't. It's not the end of your turn. You don't have to enforce home limit. So when the turn order goes, hey, start of your turn, get your tokens, you've still got all your friends. And you can then pay whatever tokens and all that to move the cards around how you wish. Now, I do understand that I've possibly explained some of this badly, especially when I've not played a lot of this for a long time. I've not even had to explain this for a very long time. And for a long time, I mean like 4 or 5 years, because these cards stopped being printed, and from Premiere all the way to Friends Forever, these sets stopped being created after the show ended. And that was in 2018, 2017? 2018, I want to think. My brain wants to say 2018. And I fell away from the show 3 years prior with season 5. Yeah, that's right, I'm a brony. Go fuck yourself. But yeah, there is at least 3 sets of cards that I have no idea about, but there are certain cards like this that come into play later on, which are very fun, because there's no symbol on these. What does that mean? That means that they're colourless. And in the Absolute Discord expansion, let's see if I can find it, because it was a very fun reference. And there it is. What's that? There's no name on it. It's got 3 power, it's 1 cost, but there's no name on it. Y'all know what that is. That right there is a motherfucking Slender Pony card. And before some of you go and ask, this had to be created for the card game, right? No, that this frame was in the show. You can go and look this up. It was in an episode. It was in the show. It was in there for, I think, 3 frames at max, because it was a panning shot, like past these bushes with characters in the foreground. This is zoomed way into the background so you can see it clearer. But this frame, this was in the show. Now, I will get back to that card a little bit, because there was an effect on that said Chaos. Chaos is very fun. But first, there's these cards, Resource Conditions. Now, these are equip cards. Resource Conditions are equip cards. Now, this one, you'll see that it's very vague in its wording. It says play on a friend. This friend gets This friend gets -5 power during the score phase. Now, the score phase comes after the confronting problems phase. The score phase is where the score phase takes immediate place side by side with the face-off phase, because you have to resolve face-offs before you can get score. Now, there's that. There's this one, which is very much similar, which is too many bandages, resource condition, play on a friend, this friend gets -2 power. That one is an outright debuff on any friend, your own or your opponent's, but obviously you want to play that on your opponent's. That's a resource asset. That's an asset. Resource location. Resource location cards are often tap bonuses. So play to your home, main phase, exhaust, tap this card and pay 1 to force your opponent to choose and discard a card. Now that can be helpful at some points. Resource accessory. Now these are the ones that you want to play on your own friends. Play on a friend. While this friend is involved in a troublemaker face-off, it gets +2 pink power. Now, the fact that that says +2 pink power comes into very, very, very nice timing, because you can give characters colour power that they don't have, so that you're able to get other cards out. Like this. This event card, Watch in Awe, is a 1 cost, 2 purple restriction, 5 power card. During your main phase, you play this card, you can choose a character. Now that's very specific character, because that includes not only your main character and your friends. I really should have said that the other way around. Not only does it include your friend characters, it includes your main character. You can play that on any of them. That character then gets +2 purple power until the end of the turn. Because certain cards, especially in much later sets, they can have up to a restriction level of 5, as far as I remember. Now trying to think. One of my favourite cards. I'm gonna try and look. It's an orange card that I know, and it's not in that set. It's not in Crystal Games. Is it in Absolute Discord? No, but that is a level 3. No. Is it in Equestrian Odysseys? It doesn't look like it. Is it maybe in High Magic? Perhaps Marks of Time? No. I might actually have to look at my cards to see if I'm remembering things right. This is being really weird and not displaying the cards properly. No, not that of Canterlot Knights. Is it this set? No, it's not that set. Huh. There it is. Now, this is, as it said in the deck organising thing, this is a promo card, which you could feasibly get from trades, you could feasibly get from events, but mainly you got these from a box that came with this, the Celestial Solstice cards, which are basically all promos because it is a collector's box of cards. And the 2 of these cards are actually novelty enlarged cards with holographic backs, which I found quite fun. But this card, as you'll see, it costs 3 for a 5 power card with a 2 restriction, but the additional restriction is in the effect. As an additional cost to play this card, discard 2 cards. This card is counted as both Princess Celestia and Princess Luna in all zones. Now it says that specifically so that you can go, okay, it's a home. It is both Princess Luna and Princess Celestia at home. It is Princess Celestia and Princess Luna at my problem. It's Princess Celestia and Princess Luna at your problem. It's worded that way to make sure people are kind of clicked onto that. But yeah, I think that's the main talking points I want to get through, but I'll swing around to this. Back to the Slender card, because oh my god. Now, with the Absolute Discord expansion came Chaos Rules. Now, Chaos Rules were both integral to the cards themselves, but there was also additional Chaos Rules for the gameplay. And it was actually on one of the score counters that they give you, which is 2 cards, one with the list of score numbers and token numbers, and one card that lies on top of it, and you slide it down to what points you get, reveals your tokens in line, and has the additional information of what you can do with tokens. Now, the Chaos Rules card gave you 6 different rules to play with. One was play with your deck upside down. One was gain tokens at the end of your turn, not the start. One was draw at the end of your turn instead, as well. There were a couple like that. But the Chaos Rules for the cards, as you'll see here, Chaos. When this card is flipped, you lose the game. Now, I have played with this card in my deck for a few fun games with friends, and it was literally a race to see who could draw this first into their hand so that it could not be flipped during a face-off, because chaos effects happen through that. When you flip this card during a face-off, when this card is flipped, you lose the game. You just lose the game outright. That counts as your loss. And people have won and lost games because of this in genuine tournament play. Because either they forgot that it was in their deck, or because they deliberately put it in there just to add a little bit of challenge fun to themselves. And obviously there are other chaos cards as well, not just one like that. That's fine. That's not a chaos. Not a chaos. Nope. 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 But some of these colourless cards, like this one, really gets on people's nerves because you can't confront more than one problem per turn. That means you cannot cause certain other things, which I'll get to after I find another chaos card. Oh yeah, the IRL gummy card. I forgot about that. Ah, here we are, chaos. Now, as you can see, that is in the title, Nightmare Fuel. Now, the chaos effect down there. When this card is flipped, choose one of each player's flipped cards. Those players ignore those cards. So that could very well be this card and your opponent's first card if this one's your second, let's say. And then it also has a face-off face-off effect. Pay 1 token to choose one of each player's flipped cards, they know that card. It's the exact same thing. I think because this is face-off, that would mean that this was in play. But now I said something about interesting things. It would force people to not be able to do interesting things with that flim and flam card. Now, the interesting thing is when you have enough friends at your problem and your opponent's problem, not only do you confront both cards and get 2 points, one from each, regardless, and I do truly mean regardless, of if your opponent has enough power at one, or enough power at both, or in the best case scenario for you, if they don't have any friends at either problem, it initiates a double face-off. Now, double face-offs are exactly the same as regular face-offs, but obviously doubled because you're confronting both problems, therefore you total the amount of power on your field at each problem and total it. Now, as I just said, best case scenario, your opponent has nothing at either problem, which means they have 0 power. If you've got enough to confront both, that means you have to have a general estimate least of 12, maybe 16 power. Maybe even 20. If they've got nothing, then they truly, truly have nothing. Not even what they flip would be much of help. Because the genuine highest card value you can flip is a 7. The value does not go above 7 in the top right. 7 is the highest numbered card. Okay. Now, as I said, I'm gonna play some games against myself here with two structure decks. This is base of the base. It is constructed from the card list on the wiki for the Premier decks. Now, what I'm going to do is, because of that, I'm going to just bonk, delete, delete this, and I'm going to play kind of this lengthwise, and I'm going to give a general marking here, and I'm going to make these markings quite wide because things can get a little bit hazy. And for purposes of education as well, I'll obviously be playing with all cards face up. At least, like, you know, hand cards. I will be playing all hand cards face up so that the information on how to play them and how to properly read and go with the flow of the game can be explained properly. But before I do get into this game, I'm going to quickly mute. I'm going to run and get some water, get a snack, and I will be back in just a Righty, and back to live. Got a nice cuppa, got a nice sandwich with me, and we are ready to go. Now, well, actually, not quite ready to go. I need not only a counter for either side, but I actually need two one to one to be the score counter, but one to be the token counter as well. And what I'm going to do is get another tool note card. And what I'm going to do is from 0 and 2, which is score and then tokens, and pressure 1, pressure immediately goes to 3 tokens, 2, 3, pressure stays 3 until it gets to 4 tokens. Which I'm actually going to double check on the old interwebs. Whew. Because the score goes up to 15. Okay. It does not immediately go to 3, it goes there. And was it 5 that changed over? No. 6 it does. And then from 6 you get 4 tokens until you reach 10 points. And where you get 5, and 5 is the highest amount of tokens you can get in one go, or one turn rather, as you get. And at 15 points, you win. That's it. Well, I can hover over it just to keep myself tracked on. That's fine. Now, one really amazing thing that a good few card games do, but not all of them, is it has a mulligan rule. Now, the mulligan rule for the My Little Pony card game is actually reshuffle. Shuffle your hand back into your deck and go. Draw a new hand if you don't like it. Now I'm going to draw both of these before I decide if I want to mulligan. Already looks like I don't want to mulligan this one. No, I do not. I do not want to mulligan that one. But I think I do want to mulligan this one. No. You know what? No, I don't. I don't want to mulligan that one. Just ignore that for a sec. And yeah, go with a coin and just do that. Now, both of these decks are 100% to structure deck. This structure deck is a orange purple base, which is obviously you can use the Applejack or the Twilight main character card. I chose Applejack mainly for its flip effect, or how to flip it. Confront this card's problem with more power than required, turn this card over, which is fairly easy for our first turn. Well, second turn actually. And Fluttershy over here, this is a yellow-orange structure deck. And when you confront this current problem, if you have a critter friend at that problem, turn this card over. Very easy to flip them both over. Twilight's, however, not so much. You have to win a face-off involving her card, and then you flip. But let's see which of these two goes first. You know what? I'll go with Irony. Tails for Fluttershy, heads for Applejack, because Fluttershy sees a lot of critter tails, like little squirrels and bunnies and stuff. And just to make sure, tails. Fluttershy goes first. And I'll just bonk that. Okay. Now, turn starts. 2 counters. And just pop that right there. Now, what do I want to do? And because first turn, first go, person who goes first doesn't draw. That's simple enough for people to understand. That's reasonable enough for people to understand. That's a 1 cost, so yep, I will pay 1 to play House Mouse directly to that problem, which is 100% allowed. I understand that the way I said that was 100% allowed. It doesn't sound it, but yeah, it is. You can play friends to problems. If you remember what I said about the Timberwolf card, it says that card's effect is your opponent pays +2 on their tokens to play a card at this problem. So yeah. Okay, here we are. and that's a first draw, 2 tokens, and gonna have to outright pay the 2 tokens to play Blue Moon, which is a purple 2 cost 2 power unicorn to that problem, and that's turn end. Fluttershy's turn. Flip that over, gain 2 tokens, and going to yes, going to pay the 2 tokens to play Red Gala. It's another 2/2 power there, and because of the requirements for this, which is 1 in 1, that is completed and gained first point. That is turn over there. Okay, get the 2 tokens, and this one's very much similar. That's a 1/1. Use those 2 tokens and move Applejack. Now, confront this problem, but that's 2. It's a 1/1. We've confronted this card's problem with more than the necessary power. We get to get our point and flip this card. Applejack is now permanently 3 power. We have a home limit of 4. We have the keyword stubborn, which means that even if this card is exhausted, it still puts power towards face-off and the score phase, even if exhausted, which is tapped. Then also its secondary effect. When one of your friends with this card at home or a problem is dismissed, you may put it on the top of your deck. So that means when home limit is being enforced and it's at home, you can put one of your cards back into your hand, or was it? Yeah, top of the deck. You can put a friend card that you really, really like back onto the top of your deck to save it. Or if it be dismissed by an opponent's effect here at the problem, then you can do that instead. Okay, and gain those 2 tokens back and draw that. But best thing for us to do is to take that 2 tokens, go over here and confront this problem yet again, because until the face-off happens, this doesn't change. Now, not only do we gain that 1 point, which puts both players at 3 tokens per turn, Fluttershy has confronted this problem with a critter friend, which means she gets to flip. Now, Fluttershy in the base set is the largest home set because she's a caretaker, ironically, because, you know, keywords, but she is a caretaker. She takes care of animals. She knows how to organise a home. She has a home limit of 5, which is the highest in the base set. She has the keyword effect caretaker, plus 1 power while at a problem with at least one of your critter friends. Oh god. And then secondary effect, which can be quite nasty. At the start of a face-off involving this card, you may move a critter friend to this card's problem, which can be very handy. Now, as I've said, both players are now at 3 tokens. That's 1, 2, and 3. And there we go. Now, we definitely don't have enough, or do we? No, we don't. That's a 1-for-1, and that's also a 1-for-1, but has restriction on it, and because it's a temporary 2. And this one, +1 for each resource on it. Actually, we are able to. Yes, that's really good. So I'm going to use those first 2 tokens, 1 to play Cherry Jubilee, 2 the opponent's problem, 1 to play Igneous Rock to the opponent's problem. Now, right now, until the end of the turn, that is 2 power. But why would I play this there? Because of Hard Hat here. Resource Accessory. This card gets +1 for each resource on it. Resource Accessory, play on a friend. This friend has Stubborn. So they're able to contribute power towards a face-off, even if exhausted during the score phase. So play that. Now I'll just put that there. Oh god. Not great collision physics. There we are. Now that is 4 power here, that is 5 power here, and that is an immediate double face-off. So gain the 2 points for confronting both, and now it's a face-off. Right, so here I have 4 and 5, so that's 9 power. Here we have 2, 1, so 3, 3, 6, Fluttershy gains a +1 while at a problem with a critter friend, but unfortunately there's nothing can really do. But she does have this available to... No, she actually doesn't. She would have this available to her if we had 1 more orange power. Ain't that just nasty? And no need for that. But it's a double face-off. And I realise that I may have skipped over the bonus, but we're about to get into that right now. Now, this is 9 power against 7, so that is another 2. That is a 4. So this is 9 plus 2 goes to 11. 7 plus 4. Guess what? That goes to 8, 9, 10, 11. It's a tie. They both flip again. Oh, that's a 3. That's a pretty hard hitter. If you don't get a 3... Oh. If this doesn't get a 3, it's a loss. And it's a 3. Ooh. And another. That's a 4. So that goes from 11 to 14 to 18. And that's also at 11, 14. And it gets a 1, 15. That was a pretty decent rally. Most of the much more difficult players, that can get loaded in a way that it goes on and on. Now I'm just going to group those and group those, and right now I'm going to double check if the face-off cards go to the bottom of the deck or the discard pile. Right, here we go. Da 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 da. Yep, all cards are moved home. Da da da. Enforce home limit. That one doesn't say. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yes, I was correct. They go onto the bottom of the decks. Oh, I'm glad I made sure of that. It's a good way this game makes sure that the decks don't get shortened. But now that that's happened, that is a double face-off concluded, and because these both have an equal bonus value, you only get, if one of them was, say, 2 bonus and the other was 1 bonus, you get the higher bonus score for winning the face-off. So that is another 1. Now all of these move back home. And that's only a 3 on the home limit, not even worried about the 4, and these change over to the next in row. Now it is 4 points, so we're still on 3 tokens. 1, 2, 3. There we are. Now, which of these is the easiest to confront? That is a 4 yellow, 3 not yellow. Ooh, that is an annoyance though. When this problem is played, each player frightens an opponent's friend. That can be quite nasty. Now, Fluttershy's play is to frighten. I believe Blue Moon would be best, and Applejack's frighten would go to Red Gala. But that we've got 4 tokens, so I believe the best thing we can do on Fluttershy's round is to use 2 tokens to move Fluttershy and another 2 tokens actually to just play a new red Gala. Now that doesn't meet the requirements just yet because it is a 4 and a 3, we only have a 3 and a 2, but it is steadily on its way. Now over here we get our 1, 2, 3. Yep. Now this is the same, it's a 4 and a 3, and at this problem orange coloured friends cannot be dismissed. And best option, in fact haven't drawn yet, there we are. Even still, best option is to use 2 tokens and for this round actually to unfrighten with those 2 tokens. That's the best option right now. Right, here we go, and 1, 2, 3, and draw. Now let's see here, that's too much pie. I think I'm going to ignore that for now. It's not quite necessary. But what I will do is pay 2 to move House Mouse up, which makes that a 5 yellow, because Fluttershy gains a +1, and pay 1 to play Igneous Rock, which has a 2 restriction on it, which we filled. Now we're able to confront this problem and gain a point. Back over here, Applejack gets +3 and draw on that. Yep. Now we really should just pay outright the 4. Move. Fact. Damn it! That's a 4. But I don't think we'd be able to build up enough quickly to cause the face off there. So yeah, just use the 4 and move to our own problem in that turn. 1, 2, 3. Draw. Oh. Notification in my friends. Friends currently having issues with Twitch. Oh. And oop. There we are. Now I just drew Forest Owl, which is a pretty good one. That gives each character at the problem that it's at +1. So I'm definitely... yes, I'm going to load up on this problem. Give me a quick second here. Bit of pressure in my neck. Ooh. Ooh. And on my back. Ooh. Oh. I have to take a few seconds here because my throat is absolutely aching from all this talking. Oh god. Ah. Oh. Oh. Okay. That feels better because it's a nice hot cuppa. Gain that point, and Fluttershy is now neck and neck. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, what can we do? What's Mare's effect? 3 to move an opponent's character. Studious. We don't have another one of you available yet. Hold on a second. Am I? Yes, I'm still live. I've also never dropped off rate. Yeah. Yeah. I'm still live, but one of my friends says Twitch is down currently. That's odd. What was I going to do? Yes. Was I actually? Yes. I have to pay 2 to play Mint Julep, get that extra 1 to get that 3 power, and pay 1 for Igneous Rock to get that, and point, because that adds up to 5 because Igneous has a temporary +1. Now it is 5 points, still on 3 tokens, but 1, 2, 3. Draw. Now, here's one of the cards I wanted to talk about earlier, but it wasn't in the right place in amongst the events for some reason. These kind of event cards, choose a orange or yellow character that gets +1 orange and +1 yellow until the end of the phase. So while it can't contribute that power to problems, it is technically a +2 power and gets both colours, at least temporarily. But we have 5 tokens to work with. What to do? That's specifically troublemaker face-offs. I'm going to pay 1 to draw 1 Amethyst Star, that's good. It is a... yeah. So I'm going to pay the 4 to play Amethyst Star over there, and the additional 2 to follow with the 2 of them. Now that doesn't make up to the 8 because that would be 2 because it's got Caretaker and is at a problem with at least one critter friend. It gets 3. That's a 1. That is just outright a 1, and Winona is also a 1. So that only adds up to 5. But that is perfectly fine. We can get the plus 1 score there. Now 1, 2, 3, draw. And we have a red gala. Now, do we want to really do anything just now? Yes, actually we do. Because that is only a 4 power, we can pay 2 and move this over, and that is counted as 2 power because it's 1 plus 1 from the resource that it's equipped with, and we play the last one to play another copy of itself, which doesn't complete that, but we get the point and the tokens go up for both parties. It is now 4 tokens every round. And it's another owl. And that is immediately played over at this problem, which gives all of these characters a +1, which puts Amethyst Star at a 4, Hummingway at 2, and Winona at 2. Now that does add up to 8. So that means that is 2 points for confronting both problems and a double face-off yet again. But this time, Fluttershy is the one enforcing it. Now, quick number crunch. That's still 8. This is over here. 3 plus 1. Well, actually plus 2. 1 from the Caretaker bonus and 1 from the Owl bonus, which makes Fluttershy a 5. That is 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, 11, 12. Remember, because each character gets the +1 bonus. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plus 8 for 20. That is 20 power here. And I think that's all we're going to need. I'm just going to put that out to the side there. And face off draw. That is a 4, so that's 24. Over here, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 because it's getting its bonus from the resource under it. That's 10, 14. Applejack loses this time on the face-offs. And That's a pretty hefty bonus of 3 points for winning that double face-off. But now Fluttershy's everything, at least everything first, has to move home. And now Applejack, everything has to move home. And now the problems get switched. And now Fluttershy has to enforce her home limit of 5. And that includes frightened cards. So we have to get these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards back down to 5. So I believe our best option is to sadly get rid of House Mouse, get rid of Igneous Rock. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need to get rid of 3 more. And I honestly believe Winona I would like that, but it is specifically a troublemaker face-off, so that'll have to go. And in fact, no. Yes, that brings us down to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, and that means they're all safe. Now, it is currently 10 points, which gets us 5 tokens on the start of this. 3, 4, 5. And the draw. Fighting for friendship. Play on a problem. Your characters at that problem get +1 power during face-offs. Now, we've only got 5 tokens, so we have to be just very quick in getting items. So, going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Immediately move Applejack and Blue Moon. And we do not have enough tokens for that. But we'll get that 1 point. And then over here, we will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And draw. And Timberwolves. Too bad. That is 1. And flip that and place that there. And then immediately pay for 2. Pay for 2 to unfrighten. And pay this 2 to move Amethyst Star over there. Yes. Now. Oh no! I've did a fuddle. Now that gets drawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be where this gets revealed. And Fluttershy doesn't have the 2 tokens to pay for that, to keep it there. So it immediately gets... I'm going to double check. Is it that it gets flipped on that turn? So this was a first turn. It gets played. Yeah. It's not flipped yet because it's on the owner's troublemaker phase. It gets flipped. So I've not done anything wrong here, but I'm trying to keep myself in check. Trying. But yes, we've just gained those tokens. Now I want to pay 2 to play that resource to it so that it gets my character's +1 power during face-offs. Now what I want to do is pay the 4 to move this Cherry Jubilee over and play this Red Gala. And that is another point gain. And here we are, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now draw phase first, there we go. Now troublemaker phase, it gets played. 2 tokens to keep it there, and it blocks their progress. At least for a little bit. Now we pay the 4 tokens to move this character up, Red Gala, and move a Forest Owl up, which gives Fluttershy her Caretaker bonus and gives a +1 to both of them. So that makes Fluttershy 5 and Red Gala a 3, which gets us another point. And here we are over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and draw. Now, this immediate troublemaker phase right here, the space between playing cards and drawing, is where we fight troublemakers. Now, we're going to fight it because we are fairly confident we can. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus all of our characters at this problem get +1 power during face-offs. So we're at 9, plus it by 4, we're at 13. Is that correct? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yes. So we have 13 power, it has 6. We don't need to do any additional playing to that problem. So we go into the face-off. That gets flipped for a +4 to 16. That'd be +3, so 17. And that gets flipped for a +3 to 9. That's too bad. But Applejack wins that face-off. and we get bonus 3 points, and this goes to discard pile. Now we do have 5 tokens, but can we get 4? I do not believe that we can. Oh wait, we certainly could if we just move these 2 oranges over. That would get the 4, cause a double face off, and these two still get a +1, and we could play an additional 1 to it. Yes, I believe that's what we're going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is Cherry Jubilee and her resource for 2 power, and Red Gala for 2 power, and we will bump, pay 1 for 1 power over here, and then we get our 2 points for confronting both problems and initiate a double face off. We have 4 power here, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 1 for each, 7, 8, 9, 9 power. Over here, Amethyst Star just has 2. Fluttershy over here has 3, 4, 5, plus the 1 for Caretaker, 6, plus the 2 points that these characters get, 7, 8. But Fluttershy's effect, at the start of a face-off involving this card, which a double face-off does, she can move a critter friend to this card's problem and drag over another +2. So that would be 11. So it is 9 versus 11. And neither character has tokens. And it is almost the last one. So what I'm going to do is get these as close together. It's 9 versus 11. And they're both 4, which does put Applejack's side down a deficit. So that means Fluttershy wins this and gains a bonus point. And these go over there, into their proper bits. Now these move home. And these move home. And because this problem is now no longer the problem, this is erased. And now Applejack has to consolidate. Consolidate, that's the word. Consolidate her home limit, of which is 4. So really the best thing we can do is get rid of our igneous rocks, get rid of that Cherry Jubilee, and get rid of Comet Tail here. Now we have met our home limit. notification emails. Now it really is neck and neck here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But which is the easiest to go for here? Draw. If that was another owl, that would have been the game, really. But don't know quite yet. So just going to pay 1, 2, 3, 4 to move Fluttershy over and Red Gala over, and pay 1 to get House Mouse out there. Now it's Applejack's turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And draw. That's Granny Smith. 2 for 2. Move a resource from one friend to another. Doesn't matter. Right now, you should do move Applejack up, move Blue Moon up, and pay 1 to get another Comet Tail out, and that is the best prepared we can be for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, draw, and move to and attempt to stockpile, so that's another point because it fulfilled. No, yes it did. Almost forgot about Owl's effect, so that gives Red Gala a +1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw. Is best to go 1, 2, and move Mint Julep up. And another 2. Yes, to move Red Gala up. That is another point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw. That's a 1 for 1, but it has stubborn. Now, it's best we go 1, 2 to move Amethyst Star up. That is a total of 4 because it has a +1 for Caretaker, and that gives a +1. So it has 4 power. Another 2 to move Red Gala up, which makes it a 3 power, which puts us at 7. And pay 1 to play Apple Cobbler. And because that is outright the 15 points, the game is over and Fluttershy has won. Now I might reset and play with other decks here, because I personally only ever played a general combination of red, purple, orange, purple, yellow. My own personal deck that I took to shop games for tournaments and pre-releases and such was actually from Premiere a tricolour deck, because the comprehensive rules that the company that made the game Interplay put out only specified a minimum of cards in a deck, which was 45 in your playable deck. And the minimum and maximum amount of cards for your problem deck is 10. You are required to have 10 problems. Although, ADHD, autism, depression and all that, us folks have a lot more than 10 personal problems. Now, I'm gonna just check a little something. And that's fine. That is perfectly fine. I'll just move these over. Because I myself have never played any of the other coloured decks. I am actually going to try the other two sets, which is a pink-blue deck, I believe, and a white-blue deck, I believe. No, it's pink-white. Pink-white. Friends being messaged. And shove. And shuffle. And that goes there. Now, do I want to... That can only really happen during a face-off though. But that one requires me to have a troublemaker, which is kind of rarer. So I'll do a quick shuffle. And yes, I will go with rarity for this set. Now, find a starting problem. which starting problems are what are required to start on, mandated even to start on. It is a rule. You cannot start on any problem other than a starting problem. Right, and got our coin, and heads for Pinky, rarity is tails. Heads is Pinky. Pinky starts us off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me a little second. Have a bite to eat of my sandwich. There we go. Now, am I happy with that hand? Not very. Could work though. That's the difficult bit. This card will... This hand will get a mulligan. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. 1, that's better. 2, much better. 3, much better. 4, much better. 5, absolute gold in there. Now for Rarity's hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not great. And that will be mulliganed. And shuffle, 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 shuffle. And we draw 1, better. 2, okay. 3, better. 4, better. 5, better. Right. And there we are, and one, 2. We have 2 tokens, and immediately going to just move Pinky up. End turn. And gain those 2 tokens and draw. And again, immediately move Rarity up. And 2 tokens, draw, and immediately back down, 2 tokens, friend out. Confront the problem. There are no opponent's problems, no opponent's friends at this card, and flipped. And that is 1 point. And omelette random during a face-off involving this card, flip a card with if you flip a card with 1 power, you may ignore it and flip a new card. Plus, your opponent also needs +1 power to confront this card's problem. I'm pretty sure that effect gets its own keyword in later expansions. But there we go. That's the first point to Pinky. 1, 2, draw, and we're going to have to take those 2 and spend them on those 2 for 1 each, and that is a point. That's 2 tokens. There we are. Ow, ow, ow. And yeah. Gonna immediately take one of this character, which is All Salt, and force them to need 1 more power, confront that problem, gain the point. But it's 2 points now, so that means 3 tokens. I think the terminology for that is 1 wild power, I'd say. Now, the curiosity that some people might have as to why it says an opponent's problem is this game can be very easily expanded to be a triangle fight game, even a square fight game, and even a tag team game very easily. Ooh, my back. Ooh. There we are. Now, you have Swift, but you're 1 for 1. That's a 3 for 2, but it gets +2 power when involved in a face-off. That's pretty nice. And we have the 1 requirement, so pay the 3 out, and no, not yet. That has Swift, so pay that to go there, use the remaining 2 to place this over here. That feels better. And that is a 1 because we've got the additional 1 requirement. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Draw. Now, and the thing is about these keywords is that each one is its own instance. Like this instance of random on this card is different is a separate instance from Pinky's. So flip a card that's a 1 power, ignore it, that is Pinky's used, and draw the next one. If that's a 1 power, this one gets used and draw the next, ignore it, draw the next one. So they are instances of that kind of thing. Yes, I will pay the 3, 2 to play that and draw, which will be left there, and 1 to pay this event, which is dismiss an opponent's friend with 1 power or less, and use it on one of those two, which gets rid of them. In fact, no. Use it on him because he's got Swift. Should I count that because that was already in the discard pile? No, I shouldn't count that because it was already in the discard pile. That would have been a misplay. And what was the card I drew? Ponyville Express. Cool. Additional point for that. 1, 2, 3, draw. I will 1, 2, 3 over here and just gain that point again. Then 1, 2, 3, draw. Possible, but not likely. So instead, yes. Instead, block that. But I don't think that helps. No, it doesn't. Because it's only +1 wild. That now it's +2 wild. That was already +2. So it doesn't do anything to stop her. +1 score. 1, 2, 3, draw. One, 2, 3, yeah. Get her out. Jet stream, yeah. But I need +1 to get there, and then that's 1 point. 1, 2, 3 tokens, draw. Pin a friend with his friend is at a problem. Your opponent's characters at that problem each get -1 power during the score phase. No. Oh? Ah. Thank you. Thank you, Usagi. didn't quite see that because the alerts are behind the game. There we go. Now just... There we go. I think that should be better. And I've not done anything yet. Right, okay. That's a 1 for 1. Also a 1 for 1, but has an additional random. And those are both 1 for 1s. Could overload. Yes. Spend all 4 tokens and get +2 on each. There we are. So that is now both problems confronted. So that's 1, 2. And double face-off is initiated with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on Pinky's side. There's a bonk. 12. And with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And going to do this method again. So it's 12 versus 13. It's a 1 and 1, but instance of random can be ignored to draw and flip. That's a 2, which puts them at a tie. And that is another draw, flip, flip, 2, which puts them at 14, 15, 16, which is 13 plus 1, 14, plus 2, 15, 16, 12 plus 2 is 14, but plus 4 up to 18. Pinky wins that one. And these go to the bottom of the deck. Swamp. And that goes there. Now, is there a highest bonus point? No, there's just an additional 1. These all get moved. These all get moved. And those get erased. There we are. Now, Pinky has to consolidate home limit, which is 5. It's not bad. And gonna get rid of you, and yeah, get rid of you. You're just a 1 for 1 to allow a draw. That's fine. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. Points are now at 7, which is 4 tokens a go. Oh, but first, move these back and gain new problems. Players with at least 2 Pegasus characters at this problem get +1 power during face-off here. And notice how it says players. A player confronts this problem, they may draw a card. And that's a 9. That's a 9 power problem. Ooh. And draw. That's immediate. It's an immediate drop on that. Then pay the 3 to move that one there, and this one has Swift, so I can pay 1 less to move that there. One, two, three, four, draw. Hey, there we go. Choose an opponent's friend to get -2 power until the end of the turn. If it has 0 power or less, dismiss it. Ooh. Move Pinky up. And move All Salt over here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4. Troublemaker phase. Draw phase. Troublemaker phase. Flipped. Pay the 2. And inspired. And pay the 2 again to move that Pegasus over there. Yeah. That's all I can do. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw. I definitely cannot fight a 6 with a 3, even with a random. That's a 3 for 3, yikes. But I can't play it onto that. It'd cost me 2 more to play it onto it. But I can definitely pay 2 to move. And pay 2 again to move that over there. They need 2 more wild. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw. Holy dash, remove this card to a problem. Move another one of your characters to the same problem for free. So it's basically 2 Swifts. Pay 2, move rarity up. Pay 2 to move another jet stream over. Yeah, that's all I can do at the moment. I need 1 more power to get that done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flip. Even going against a 6, even with a 5, I still don't like that. So pay the 4. Move those 2 up. And that's at a 7. Still not confident in that though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw. Marvelous chapeau. Play on a friend when this friend is an opponent's problem. Yeah. Yes. 1, 2, 3. Move that over. That is the 2 extra wild that I need to confront that problem. Bingo. Draw. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna consolidate. Keep the tokens for next round. End turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw. 1 for 1 inspired. That's pretty cool. Now moved on to main phase. Going to look at the top card of their deck, and decide whether to put it at top or bottom. 1 for 1 pink. That can stay on top. Da. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get Holly Dash out there. That's a chunk of a card. 1 point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw. Now I can pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get this character all the way over there. Apple Brown Betty. Yep. Pay the 3 for that. Get that on there. +1 against troublemakers. That's straight up a 3. Yep. One, 2, 3, 4. Draw. Play to your home. Choose one of your ready cards, exhaust that card, and ready an exhausted character. that is useless to me. That's currently 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Damn it. 9. I do not have enough to do that. 2 to get to 6. 7. 8. Yes. Okay. +1 for the point. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw. And confronting this bastard. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, +1 from the troublemaker fight, 12. And that's 6 outright. So 12 v6, as much as it's one-sided, could draw 1, could draw 7. 4 and a 1. Pinky wins. Pinky wins and gets 3 bonus points. 1, 2, 3. Whew. And to play this onto that character, he goes to less than 0, so he is dismissed. And confront that problem for another score. Draw, and that's 11, so 5 tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2 to move that up, which gives me 10 there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gives me the 9. Pay 1 to draw 1. So 1 for 1. So pay the 3 out, move this one, play that one there, and move this one here. And that's 2 points for each problem. And double face off, that should be 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Over here we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 13, 13, 14, 13, 14, 15, 16, 36. So that's definitely 10. This pile is 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yes, 15. So 35. And over here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Or is it? 10, 9, it's 25. It's 25. Where's my brain gone? 25. Random. Still definitely not enough. Rarity wins that one. And I believe that's the highest, but it's equal bonus points, so it's choice. Choose that problem. Oh, plus that. That was 36 then. 26. Okay, those 3 points. 1, 2, 3. And because I scored more than 2 points during the score phase with that card at the problem, it gets boosted. But now Rarity has to consolidate. Right. Rid of you. Rid of you. Rid of you. Definitely rid of you. Definitely rid of you. And yeah, I don't really need you. Don't really need you. There we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw. One, two. Move Pinky. 1, 2. Move them. 1, 2. Move that up and get a point. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw. 1, 2. Move there. 1, 2, and move Holly up. Move Holly up, and I get to move another one of my characters to the same problem for free. And already covering the wild one. So yeah, put a jet stream in and confront. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw. Pay the one. Put that there. And ooh. No wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's fine. Whew. One, two, move. That's at 4. One, two. Yeah. Another also confront both. That's a face off. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 against 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think that ties it. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. Yes, that's a tie. And that's a 4, that's a 3. If they were at a tie, that's a 1 up. And that is game regardless. Pinky wins. Right. That was plenty of fun for me, at least. Now, just gonna move that over and move this over and grab all those and delete. Delete and delete. Okay, I've currently been streaming for 3 hours and 40 minutes. So I don't know if now is a good time to stop. My voice is getting pretty tired, my throat's getting pretty dry. I probably should. Alright. So I know this is going to be saved on a VOD. I know that not many people were here. And the people that were here for a very brief second. But that's perfectly fine. I wanted to share something that I really enjoyed. And if people enjoy it, they enjoy it. I'll hopefully be doing this again. Maybe with one of my friends, maybe with more. And with this being, tabletop sim, there's a lot of games that I can play on it. I don't even know if, because of the imagery, it'd get bad though, because another game that I really like is called Weisschwarz, and that is the name of the game in all languages. And comedically, it is Anime the card game, because the company that makes the game licenses out, gets licenses from various anime companies in Japan, and they make themed decks and cards around various animes. It's all same rules within itself and stuff. There's no like massive change. It's just keywords that you have to look out for. But it's very fun, and because it is an anime based, or at least anime themed card game, it has a lot of cards, and I mean a lot. Still nowhere near Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or anything, but still a lot. And there's a lot of themed decks, themed structure decks for them, or trial decks as they actually call them. Weisschwarz calls them trial decks. And the ones I can name off the top of my head that are in Weisschwarz is, there is, I think, 4 trial decks for Sword Art Online. There's a Sword Art Online 1, Season 1 themed deck, and this is part 1 by the way, so that is Einkrad themed. There's a Sword Art Online 2 themed deck, which is Gun Gale Online, that's another part 1. There is Sword Art Online Alternative themed, which is again Gun Gale themed, but it is P-chan is the main character of that deck. The 4th SAO deck is Alicization themed, and with that Alicization being what it is, that is a full theme on its own. There's those 4. There's Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. There is Madoka Magica themed deck. There is just straight up a Hatsune Miku themed deck. There's several Overlord themed decks, I believe, for the different seasons. There's Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. There's some more cultured animes in the decks as well, like High School DD, To Love-Ru Darkness, actually. But amongst that as well is actually a theme deck based around the artist for those. One of the trial decks is themed around the artist that does the art for High School DD and a couple of other animes, and it is just themed around their art of the ladies. And the only quote-unquote Western themed, and I mean this in a geographical sense, the only Western themed deck that they have is Ruby. They actually have a Ruby themed deck, and it is official through and through, all licensed and everything. And that's pretty cool, I think. But again, it's tabletop sim. We could do more more card games like this and Vice, and we could even play one of my favourite board games that I talked about earlier, which was the Devil May Cry board game, which I've got all the expansions for on here. And I do have it physically, but I do not have the space to play it physically. Plus, one of my figures is wonky donkey because of the Walking Arsenal pack that doesn't come with a proper figure. It comes with a wonky figure. I think that's about all I can talk about. So I am gonna say goodbye for now. It was a really enjoyable first time back, and thank you so much for stopping by. I really hope you do come by again, and maybe next time I've got some friends along, so it'll be a bit more than just me droning on and on and on, so that they can ask questions and it can be a bit more cohesive if I'm trying to teach them stuff. So thank you if you came along. Thank you if you're watching a VOD. Just thank you, and I do hope you come by again. Bye for now.